Welcome back to Books and Bites. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into The Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, yeah, this one's a classic.
It is. It's a book that's been around for quite a while, but the advice inside is surprisingly relevant even today.
Absolutely. Even though it's set in ancient Babylon, the principles it teaches about personal finance are, well, timeless.
Exactly. So imagine yourself, back in ancient Babylon trying to figure out your finances without, modern tools like spreadsheets or budgeting apps.
Right. It's a completely different world, but the challenges people faced with money back then are actually very similar to what we face today.
Definitely. And that's what makes this book so fascinating. It uses these stories, these parables, to teach these financial lessons.
Yeah, parables are great. It's not just, dry financial advice. It's like listening to stories, like ancient gossip almost.
Right? And one of the most memorable characters is Bansir, the chariot maker.
Oh, yeah, Bansir. He's great. He's good at his craft, making chariots.
He is.
But he's terrible with money. Always broke.
Yeah, he's got that classic problem of more month than money.
Exactly. So he goes to Arcad, the richest man in Babylon, for advice.
And Arcad, he doesn't disappoint. He lays out 7 cures for a lean purse. Think of them as ancient financial tips.
Yep. And these tips, they're not get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
They're fundamental principles that still apply today.
Definitely. So let's dive into those 7 cures. The first one is start by purse to fattening.
Ah, yes. This one is all about paying yourself first.
Exactly. Before you spend anything else, set aside 10% of what you earn.
It's like giving your future self a little high five and a slightly fatter wallet.
I like that.
And this idea of paying yourself first, it's so powerful because it changes your whole mindset about saving. It's not an afterthought. It's a priority.
It's like it's a non-negotiable expense, like your rent or your groceries.
Exactly. And a lot of modern budgeting techniques, they echo this ancient wisdom, like the 50-30-20 rule.
Yeah, where you allocate a portion of your income to savings before you even think about spending. Okay, so the second cure is control thy expenditures.
Ah, yes. This one's all about needs versus wants.
Uh-huh. A concept that could have saved me a lot of money in my younger years.
Me too. It's so easy to fall into that trap of, spending everything you earn, even when you get a raise.
It's like your lifestyle inflates to match your income. So how do you actually control those expenditures?
Well, that's where budgeting comes in. Think of it as giving your money a job description.
Ooh, I like that.
You track your expenses and you decide consciously where your money is going. And that helps you identify those areas where you might be overspending.
Yeah, you can see where you might be, splurging on wants instead of, focusing on needs.
Right. The book obviously doesn't talk about budgeting apps. They didn't have those in ancient Babylon.
Of course not.
But the principle is the same. Be aware of where your money is going.
Okay, so cure number 3 is make thy gold multiply. Now, this one is all about the magic of investing.
Ah, yes. The power of compound interest.
Exactly. It's the idea that your money earns money, and then that money earns even more money.
It's like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger.
Exactly. Now, the book, it talks about investing in things like livestock and caravans.
Right. Those were the investment vehicles of the time.
Of course. But today we have so many more options, like index funds, real estate.
Even starting your own business.
Right. The key takeaway, though, is the same. Put your money to work for you. Don't let it just sit there.
Absolutely. Let it grow. Okay, so cure number 4 is guard thy treasures from loss.
Ooh, this is where Arcad gets real about risky investments.
Yeah, he basically says don't be a sucker.
Right. Do your research, seek expert advice, and don't fall for those promises of overnight riches.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, some things never change. I mean, we might not be dealing with the same scams as in ancient Babylon, but...
Right, but the principle, if the same. Understand what you're investing in.
Uh-huh.
Assess the risks. And don't be afraid to get advice from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Right. Okay, cure number 5 is make that dwelling a profitable investment.
Ah, yes. Arcad was a big fan of owning your own home.
He was. Now, in ancient Babylon, that might have meant a mud brick house.
Probably. But the idea is the same.
Exactly. Yielding equity, having a stable place to live, those are timeless benefits.
Definitely. Owning a home can be a fantastic way to build wealth over the long term, but it's important to remember it comes with responsibilities, too.
Right.
The book doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of mortgages or property taxes.
Of course not.
But the main message is that your home should be an asset, not a burden.
Got it. Okay, the 6th cure is ensure a future income.
Ah, yes. Planning for retirement.
Exactly. Now imagine trying to do that without a 401k or Social Security.
Right. The Babylonians had to figure it out without those safety nets.
They did. But the book emphasizes the importance of having a plan for your future income.
Absolutely. Whether that's through investments, savings, even a side hustle that you can continue into your later years.
So even back then, they had the concept of side hustles.
In a way, yeah.
That's fascinating. Okay, and the final cure, the seventh cure, is increase thy ability to earn.
This one's all about self-improvement.
Exactly. Arcad was a big believer in constantly learning new things, improving your skills.
He basically says don't be a one-trick pony.
Right. And that message, it really resonates today, especially in a world that's constantly changing so rapidly.
It does. You got to keep learning and growing to stay relevant and competitive.
Absolutely.
Think of it as investing in your own human capital.
I love that. Okay, so those are the 7 cures.
7 powerful principles for building wealth.
That they are. But wait, there's more.
There is.
Arcad also has 5 laws of gold. Think of them as like bonus tips. But we'll get into those after a quick break.
Sounds good.
Just kidding. We don't do breaks here on Books and Bites. We just love diving into these books.
That we do. Okay, so the 5 laws of gold.
Right. These laws, they offer even more specific guidance on how to handle your money.
Exactly. Like, for example, one law states that gold comes gladly to any man who puts by not less than 1/10 of his earnings. You create an estate.
Oh yeah, that one ties back to that first cure. Start that purse to fattening.
Exactly. Save consistently, build wealth over time.
Makes sense. And then there's that other law that says, gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings.
Ah, yes, a warning against those get-rich-quick schemes.
Right. Be wary of anything that sounds too good to be true.
Timeless advice. Even though the book doesn't mention things like Ponzi schemes or internet scams,
Right.
the message is clear. Don't be blinded by greed.
Got it. So we've talked about the 7 cures and we've touched on the 5 laws of gold. But The Richest Man in Babylon doesn't stop there. It's packed with other insightful parables that offer valuable lessons for managing your money.
Like, for instance, the gold lender of Babylon.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's about a spear maker named Rodan. He gets a reward of 50 gold coins. A fortune back then.
It was, and he's not sure what to do with it, so he goes to Mathon, the gold lender, for advice.
Right. And Mathon, he gives him some great advice about being careful about lending money.
Yeah, he warns him about lending to people who can't repay, not because he's mean, but
Uh-huh.
because he wants to protect his own wealth.
Exactly. It's a timeless lesson in assessing risk, making sure you're making responsible lending decisions.
Absolutely. And this parable, it applies to more than just personal loans.
How so?
Well, it applies to investing, too. Before you hand over your money, make sure you understand the risks and the likelihood of getting your money back.
That's a great point.
Whether you're lending to a friend or investing in a business or even buying a financial instrument.
Right. Okay, so another parable that really stands out is the walls of Babylon.
Ah, yes. That one uses the city walls as a metaphor for financial security.
Exactly. Those walls, they protected the city from invaders.
Just like a solid financial plan can protect your wealth from unexpected crises, or, those inevitable economic downturns.
Exactly. It's about having savings emergency funds and a well-thought-out strategy so you can weather those storms.
Right. The book might not mention things like health insurance or disability coverage,
Of course not.
but the core message is the same. Be prepared for the unexpected.
Absolutely. Okay, so then we have Sharunada, the luckiest man in Babylon.
Oh, yeah, he's got quite a story. Rags to riches.
He does. He goes from being a slave to a successful merchant.
A true testament to hard work and perseverance.
Definitely. And seizing opportunities. Something to remember when you're hitting that snooze button instead of tackling your to-do list.
Absolutely. His story shows that luck might play a role, but success is often the result of preparation, hard work, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, create your own luck. Okay, so as we've been going through these parables, I'm starting to see some overarching themes emerge.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the book really hammers home the power of saving and investing.
Absolutely. It's not just about how much you earn.
Right.
It's about how much you keep and how you make that money grow.
It's like that saying, it's not about the size of the well, it's about the pump.
I like that. And The Richest Man in Babylon, it really encourages you to shift your mindset.
From spending to saving.
Exactly. Even if you can only save a small amount at first,
Uh-huh.
those small, consistent actions over time, they can lead to significant wealth accumulation.
The power of compounding.
Precisely. Another major theme is financial discipline and delayed gratification.
Right. Control your spending, figure out what you really need versus what you want, and resist the urge to live beyond your means.
That's the path to financial freedom, and it's probably more relevant today than ever.
How so?
Well, we live in a world of instant gratification, easy credit.
That's true.
By practicing delayed gratification and making conscious choices about how you spend your money, you can break free from that cycle of debt and achieve true financial independence.
Absolutely. Another important takeaway is the importance of financial education.
Oh, yeah. The book argues that not knowing how to manage money is a major cause of poverty. even for people who earn a good income.
That's a powerful statement. So it's about empowering yourself with knowledge and skills to make informed decisions.
Exactly. The book might not give you specific financial literacy resources, but the message is clear. Take the time to learn about personal finance.
Right. There's so many resources available today, books, websites, courses, you name it.
Exactly. Equip yourself with the knowledge you need to succeed.
And of course, the book celebrates the power of hard work and perseverance and seizing opportunities.
Absolutely. Wealth isn't just about luck. It's about putting in the effort, having the right attitude, and being ready to grab those chances when they come your way.
So despite being set thousands of years ago, the principles in The Richest Man in Babylon are shockingly relevant today.
They are. It's a testament to the timeless nature of sound financial principles.
The methods might change, but the core concepts, they remain the same.
Exactly. Saving, investing, financial discipline, continuous learning, these are things that never go out of style.
So what does all this ancient Babylonian wisdom mean for us in the 21st century?
Well, I think it shows us that financial success isn't some big mystery. It's achievable for anyone who's willing to embrace these core principles and make them a part of their daily lives.
It's about taking control of your finances, making informed decisions, and building a future where you're not just surviving, but thriving.
The Richest Man in Babylon is like a blueprint for financial well-being, and it's as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
And it reminds us that the journey is just as important as the destination.
So, one of the things that really struck me about The Richest Man in Babylon is that it's not just about, like practical tips and tricks for managing money. It's also about mindset.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. The book really emphasizes the importance of belief. Like believing in your ability to create wealth.
Exactly. Our cat, he's always talking about the power of self-confidence. Like those who believe in themselves, they're more likely to achieve their goals.
It's like you have to see it to believe it or something like that. If you don't think you can achieve financial success, you're probably not going to put in the work to get there.
Right. And that's something that you see in modern personal finance advice, too.
How so?
Well, there's a lot of talk about developing a wealth mindset, like believing that you deserve to be wealthy and that you have the power to create wealth for yourself.
It's about shifting your perspective, moving away from that scarcity mindset where you're always worried about not having enough, and embracing an abundance mindset where you believe that there are enough resources and opportunities for everyone to succeed.
Exactly. And The Richest Man in Babylon, it also really emphasizes the value of hard work.
Oh yeah, the book doesn't sugarcoat it at all. It makes it clear that wealth is built through consistent effort, diligence, and perseverance.
Definitely. There are no shortcuts to success.
Right. And you see that reflected in the characters in the book.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like Bansir and Sharunata, they're all hard workers who are committed to improving their lives.
And they don't let challenges stop them. They're willing to put in the time and effort required to achieve their goals.
Which is such an important lesson, especially nowadays, when we're constantly bombarded with these messages about overnight success and get-rich-quick schemes.
It is. The Richest Man in Babylon reminds us that real wealth is built over time, brick by brick.
Yeah, it's like building a house. You don't just snap your fingers and it appears. You have to lay the foundation, put in the work to create something lasting and valuable.
Exactly. And speaking of building something lasting, The Richest Man in Babylon also stresses the importance of long-term thinking.
Oh yeah, Arcad's always encouraging people to think about the future.
Right. Invest in your skills and knowledge. Make choices that will benefit you not just today, but for years to come.
Think beyond that immediate gratification. Consider the long-term consequences of your decisions. Delay gratification today so you can enjoy the rewards tomorrow.
And that ties in with a lot of modern financial advice, too.
How so?
Well, think about things like retirement planning or investing for the future.
Right. It's all about recognizing that the decisions you make today can have a ripple effect for decades to come.
Exactly. Now, another interesting thing about The Richest Man in Babylon is that it touches on the importance of giving back to your community.
Oh yeah, that's right. Even though the book is primarily focused on personal finance, it doesn't advocate for a purely selfish pursuit of wealth.
Definitely not. It encourages readers to use their wealth wisely and to contribute to the well-being of their communities.
It's a subtle message, but an important one. True wealth isn't just about accumulating money. It's also about using your resources to make a positive impact on the world around you.
And that's something that's really resonating in a lot of conversations about wealth and social responsibility today.
Like there's this growing sense that those who have achieved financial success have a responsibility to give back, to use their resources to address social issues and make the world a better place.
Exactly. Now, before we move on, I wanted to circle back to the idea of parables for a second.
Oh yeah, those stories, those are really what make this book so unique.
They are. But why do you think the book uses stories to teach these financial lessons?
Well, I think it's because stories, they're just a more engaging way to learn.
Definitely. They're more relatable, more memorable than just, a list of rules or principles.
Right. It's like watching a movie versus reading a textbook. The stories, they bring those principles to life.
Exactly. And because the stories are set in ancient Babylon, they have this kind of timeless quality.
It's like they transcend cultural and historical boundaries.
Right. The characters and their challenges, they might seem distant at first, but their experiences with money and wealth are surprisingly universal.
So even though it's set thousands of years ago, The Richest Man in Babylon offers insights that are just as relevant today.
Absolutely. It's a book that speaks to those timeless challenges of managing money, building wealth, and achieving financial security.
We've unpacked a lot of wisdom from this ancient text. But how can you actually apply these principles to your own life in the here and now with all of its modern complexities?
Well, I think one of the most important things to remember is that idea of paying yourself first. No matter how much you're earning right now, make it a habit to set aside at least 10% for savings and investments before you spend on anything else.
It's like putting your future self on the payroll.
Exactly. And, another key takeaway is that idea of budgeting and tracking your expenses.
Yeah, you don't need a fancy app or anything.
Right. The main thing is just to be aware of where your money is going and to make conscious choices about how you're spending it.
Be the boss of your own money.
Exactly. And speaking of being the boss, you need a financial plan, just like a business needs a plan.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy. So set some financial goals and then figure out how you're going to reach them.
Right. Whether it's buying a house, paying off debt, or retiring early, having a plan will help you stay on track.
Like a roadmap for your financial journey.
I like that. And another important lesson from The Richest Man in Babylon is to invest in yourself.
Oh yeah. Constantly learning and growing.
Exactly. Develop new skills, expand your knowledge, not just for your career, but for your own personal growth, too.
It's the best investment you can make, investing in yourself.
Couldn't agree more. And don't be afraid to seek out mentors. Learn from people who've already achieved financial success.
So to wrap things up, if you're intrigued by this book and want to learn more about the 7 Cures for a Lean Purse, the 5 Laws of Gold, and all the other great advice from Arcad, we highly recommend checking it out.
It's a classic for a reason, and its wisdom is just as relevant today as it was centuries ago.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into The Richest Man in Babylon, be sure to subscribe to Books and Bites for more explorations of fascinating and useful books. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Happy reading.